Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Do soldiers ever see ghosts, demons, or shadow people on the battlefield?
I don't ever post here, usually just lurk. I've been deployed twice, once in 2008 and once in 2010, to Iraq and Afghanistan respectively. In Iraq, I had no such incidents. However, I can't say the same thing about Afghanistan. I can speculate that it's just because we were in larger groups on patrol in Iraq and often in vehicles. Also, we were just outside of Baghdad, so it was relatively alive and urban. Whereas in Afghanistan, we were about an hour outside of Kandahar city, in the Arghandab River Valley, in a very rural area that was sparsely populated and just overall eerie. Couple that with 8 to 12-hour 9-man patrols, often from sunset to sunrise. I'm not going to do the whole continue thing, but give me a minute and I'll type out the few times something spooky has happened to me. Sometime in late fall, getting towards the colder months in Kandahar, and it does get colder than balls there, we were on a soft knock raid with Afghan National Police and Afghan National Army, guys in a village in the valley I mentioned. It was about 12 miles up the only road that travels from a pass in the southwest to the northeast towards a lake. That I never saw. We only patrolled up to a dam on the river. Anyway, just for some background, here's the general layout if you can hang with me here for a minute. From northeast to southwest, our common operational picture we built. Then the village, about a quarter-mile long and winding narrow alleys. A small road, like a frontage dirt road. Then a large canal. Then the only paved road up the valley. Then the orchards. Pomegranate orchards about a half-mile deep that stretches the entire length of the valley, getting up to a mile deep at some points. Then the river. The Arghandab River is huge in some parts. You wouldn't be able to swim across at any spot. The current is faster in the spring. So anyway, we're on the soft knock raid. These details are inconsequential but gives you some background. This is at around 100 hours. Knock on the front gate. Our air assets tell us the guy is jumping a back wall of the compound. Break our way in, clear. Obviously he's gone like air assets said. Now when you clear a compound like this, you detain whoever is there for the time being until all the details are sorted out. With that being said, as the target moved around and our air assets guided us to him, we had to clear several compounds. Every time we cleared one and detained personnel, we had to leave 3 to 4 personnel at each location if we couldn't bring the detainees with us. For example, an old-ass guy and his 8 teenage nephews or whatever. So this thins out our numbers dramatically. Most of the time, if it was just women and chickens, we'd just tell them that the guy came through their compound, we're sorry, and dip out. But if it was shady dudes, we'd obviously detain them. So we're chasing the dude for what seems like an eternity, because by the time the air assets told our HQ at the COP where he went, then the COP told my radio operator, and the radio operator told an observation post, and the observation post sent the info over to me. He had already moved to a new location. At one point, this is where it gets good. It's me and my medic and my radio operator and 1 rifleman in a compound we just cleared. I have a military-aged male that may be the guy we were after. Call it up. More personnel coming. Rifleman has the detainee. Radio operator is communicating. Medic tells me that he just saw someone in the alley. I look immediately, and I see a guy peek around the corner. Seriously, like a shadow, I yell and sprint after him. The medic is a good dude, so he follows after me. It seems like every time I turn a corner chasing this guy, he's farther away from me. But he is not running. He is walking, almost shuffling. This guy is dark like a shadow, which at the time isn't a big deal because it's dark out. Under night vision goggles he looks normal, but to my naked eye, he looks weird. Each turn of a corner he's farther away, he turns into a house, but I don't hear a gate move or close, which is weird because Afghan gates are janky and loud. At this point I notice I'm hot. Like I said before, it's even getting colder and colder. And in Kandahar, the change from summer to winter is like a 10-day window, it seems like. So I had been freezing all day, but now I'm hot as hell. And not just because I was running. I wasn't sweaty, there was no way I could be dehydrated. I just felt like I was on fire. I kick the gate to the compound and immediately I'm looking into a corridor that's slightly illuminated by the moon. I had no tack light and had put my night vision goggles up when I was chasing the dude. So the second I'm looking in the corridor and a gnarly little tree stump thing, line a piece of driftwood with a few nubby limbs slides from right to left and moves perfectly into place to block a 3-foot by 3-foot hole. Obviously I'm shitting bricks, but this dude may have just pulled it to cover the hole with a cord or something. I had no tack light, so I traded my rifle to my medic for his M9 pistol and a flashlight and kicked the log out of the way and popped down the hole. Why? I don't know, man. I'm a hard-charging infantry sergeant at the time who would have probably been shot in the head. Anyway, I get down in this room and I'm even hotter now but not sweating, and I immediately get dizzy and freezing cold. I turn 180 degrees to look to my rear right, and the guy is standing there and he's just a shadow, speaking a language that is definitely not Pashto, Farsi, or Dari at a high rate of speed. Next thing I know, my medic is waking me up, saying he came down because I wasn't answering and he found me laying there. So, the rest of the night drags on. The guy I had in the last compound before I ran into Shadow Dude was the target. You can imagine all the shitty administrative detainees handling things that go along with that. Anyway, after our interrogator gets done with him and we ship him off to Kandahar airfield, the next day, we use the info we got from him to set up an ambush down in the orchards to catch some dudes bringing RPGs and RKGs down from the north along the river. This is the part you're going to call bullshit on if you are going to. I get down there, we get in position, and ambushes are the most chill mission you ever do for the most part. You sneak in, set up in some decent spots, set some rear security and just stay quiet and chill. You don't walk all night and get sweaty and tired. You don't deal with smelly dudes. You just chill and hopefully get some action. Anyway, we're set in, it's dark and damp. We're in the orchards, so it's like 100% dark. No illumination. Our night vision goggles don't barely do anything. We have to use thermals to initiate the ambush because nobody can see shit. So basically we have our machine gunners that can see stuff with their thermals, but nobody can see shit. As soon as the machine gunners shoot, everyone is supposed to just light up the kill zone and toss out grenades. So I've been sitting in the almost complete darkness for 3 to 4 hours, just enjoying the slight breeze and a night that was warmer than last night, so I was very comfortable. Then I heard absolutely nothing, and all of a sudden I can feel a person behind me, and before I can even freak out, I hear that odd language and voice of the Shadow Dude right behind me. I was seriously frozen in terror. I sat there until I got my thoughts together and was like, what the hell is going on? I don't believe in this shit, basically. And as I tried to move to turn around, I realized that I could not move, nor speak. It was like I had read about how sleep paralysis is. Except now I start freaking out 20 times worse, and as I try to turn around, the voice comes to the front of my face, and I can see that someone is in front of me, and the speaking fades out, but I can feel his breath on my face still speaking, and I swear I can feel his spit from him speaking so fast, and I'm starting to get hot as hell again. And then the machine guns go off and everyone starts shooting. And that's it. I sit for a few seconds and then start shooting too because they're shooting back. I don't tell anyone and the night continues as it should. On the walk back, I feel like I see the guy in the shadows a few times, and then a few times in the winter I swear I see the guy standing somewhere, so I just go the other way, choose a different route. I write that stuff off as just nerves, but nothing else tangible actually happened. It fucked me up really good. I still remember all of it so vividly. I can still hear the dude talking, but cannot figure out what language it is. If anything, it's closest to Russian and Korean mixed. Any questions will be entertained. I wish I had a crazier story, but that shit was scary for me. I swear those 5 to 10 minutes in the orchards were the worst of both deployments, and I have 2 Purple Hearts and a lot of wounded or dead friends. And that shit was far more dreadful.
Stationed at Francis E. Warren Air Force Base in Cheyenne, Wyoming. This used to be an Army fort established in 1867 as Fort David Allen Russell. Not much to do out there because it is rather boring. Used to go for runs at night before going to bed because I enjoyed running, then taking showers and going to sleep. Crow Creek runs through the base, right where the Crow Creek massacre occurred. Heard sounds of screaming. Wasn't sure where it was coming from. called security forces about this. Security forces investigated the screams, and the sounds would shift and seem to come from a different location. We all heard the screams but could not pinpoint where it came from. Security forces told me they get these calls quite a bit and they can never figure out where they come from. It was strange how we all heard the screams, so in a strange way we were comforted in knowing we were not hearing voices. It was put down to just a prank, but it sounded like something terrible was happening, but there was nothing there. I have seen some strange things there. I saw a group of what appeared to be army soldiers in full cavalry uniform from their time period, blue, just appear, and then took off running and vanished. Never told anyone I saw that. They wouldn't believe me. But when I go out running, I am half afraid or half wanting to see more. Not sure what is compelling me to run at night. Heard the sound of voices hissing in some language that I didn't understand when I was out running. I could sense real anger and rage. Made the hair on the back of my head stand up. I said, "Get out of here," and it got quiet. Looked around and saw nothing but felt the presence of something evil. Kept that to myself. But from time to time I sense something following me around, and I hear language that I don't understand or even know where it comes from. I am going to assume it is some Indian language. Old buildings make it even creepier. PIC-related, old officer quarters.
Okay, not military, but law enforcement. Working Graves as probation officer in a juvenile detention facility. Charlie unit of the facility is for low-level offenders and female minors. Charlie room 106. All the kids hate this room, despite having a view of the unit TV. They all say it's haunted. Figured it's kids being silly. Control officer would mess with unit mic and tapping the mic or scraping their nail over it. It'd make a weird hollow thumping sound in the housing area. 0230. Hear thumping on the C106 door. I know the room is empty. Figure I'm being screwed with. Go do room checks. As I pass by, I see a face in the glass of the room. Key the door and call control for lights in the room. No one there. Secure door, complete room checks. As I pass by on the way to the unit desk, the door starts banging like a battering ram is hitting it. Call the supervising officer on the landline. Funny, asshole. How'd you do it? The control officer confirmed he was in Max on the other side of the facility the whole time. Same room 3 months later. Kid we've practically raised is in C106. He's almost 18 and is actually a great kid. Eventually joined the military. Good kid, bad choices. He's a big country kid that just keeps getting in trouble for petty shit. Pretty much all of it drinking. Hell, he was just like me when I was his age. Only difference is, I didn't get caught. 3 a.m. approximately. We get a call from control. Kid is hysterical in his cell, alone, and calling for help. Rush to and key door. He's sitting in the fetal position on the lower bunk. Looks like shit. I mean awful. Buddy, you okay? Stands up like he just now notices me and rushes to get out. He's not bum rushing me, just trying to get out of the cell. Quietly call for one officer back up to the unit over the radio. Code 4, but I want someone else there. Sit kid in the day room. He's sweating bullets but shivering. Says he woke up, and some voice was coming from out of his mouth. Not his own. Said it filled the room and was telling him to kill his friends. Kid is not the type to try some "I'm going crazy" bullshit. Begs not to go back to the cell. He looks scared as all hell. Bud, the only open cell is in Max with the baby touchers and gangbangers. I don't care. Supervising officer denies the move. He tells me he'd be willing to assault me to get the move. A little background, I'm a former powerlifter and have studied jiu-jitsu and kenpo for years. He said he'd take the charge and get his ass handed to him to get the move. I convinced the supervisor to move him, if just for the night. Spends the rest of the night hanging out with staff in Max, helping them clean and do room checks. We elected to stop putting minors in there.
Me and my team head out for our 3-day tour in the ICBM missile fields of North Dakota. We're posted at Missile Alert Facility Juliet, right outside the haunted North Dakota town of Tegas. Me and my partner Maze are the Night Shift Security Response Team, SRT, so we head into our rooms to get some sleep. Wake up a few hours later to a skittering across the floor, and then rapid footsteps down the hall outside my room. Get up quicker than a jackrabbit and open the door to the hall. Mays is peeking his head out through his own room, asking if I heard something. Most certainly did. Tell Mays it must have been the day SRT screwing around with us and went back to sleep. A couple hours later, we wake up, get ready, and give the day SRT some shit as we sit down to eat chow. They have no idea what we're talking about. Ask the chef, a big pale dude named Finley, won't even talk to us. Is crying and shit. Complete weirdo. Ask the facility manager. Says he didn't mess with us. Me and Mays are profoundly creeped out. Night shift is nuts. We only got back to the day SRT wakes up all pissy. Stop messing with us, Anon. We heard you outside our rooms pretending to cry. Swear up and down that we didn't do shit, we weren't even here. Security controller confirms our story. Can't find Finley, but there's another chef there. Must have had a family emergency and switched out during the night. Would explain why he was crying. This new chef thinks we're all dumb cops and tells us to go away. Question the facility manager again. He thinks we're all idiots. Asks him if he thinks Finley may have been screwing with us before he left. Gives us all weird looks. Who the fuck is Finley? Turns out a chef took his own life at that facility about 8 years before because his wife cheated on him. His name was Finley.
Stationed a few places, saw some weird shit on a lot of night shifts. By far the freakiest, 2003. MP, military police, stationed in Korea. Camp Long backfill. Pretty much just a few guys go up there and do law enforcement on a tiny base. Think like half square mile small. Base is dotted with Korean burial mounds where unknown US casualties died in the Korean War and were just buried where they fell. Nice night, about 1 a.m. So I go on foot patrol. Walking by the grave, see someone duck behind it. Might be some dumb private. Go to check it out. Guardian home, Guardian 3. 3. Have a subject walking behind the burial mound off of whatever street. Guardian 3. 3. Say again. Repeat this back and forth 2 or 3 times. Getting nervous, just having that feeling of something being off. Guardian 3. 3. The subject you're out with keeps talking over you. Can't hear you on radio. Can you give us a call? Call desk sergeant. Hey, Specialist Anon, tell that guy to shut the hell up so I can hear you talk. My balls crawl into my stomach. I'm not out with anyone, Sergeant. I haven't found the guy yet. Twig or branch snaps. Nope.x. Haul ass back to the patrol car. Every light on. Spotlights, overheads, high beams. Back to MP station. Desk sergeant grilling me about why I was bullshitting him about finding someone out there. Adamant I didn't have anyone else there. Computer holds playback of all radio traffic, so we sit down to listen to it. Playback recordings. You can hear the desk sergeant clearly. When I talk, it sounds like a garbled voice talking over me. Clearly a voice, just not very clear. Listen to transmissions is really hard. Realize what they are saying. WALT, 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 WALT. May have been HALT or WOE. Over by the post, see him? Maybe boat, though there wasn't any water large enough to hold a boat nearby. I want to go home. Clear as a bell. Damn near shit a brick in the patrol room. Sadly, our recording system at the base reset once a month and we couldn't figure out how to save the audio. Wasn't our job and no one wants to pay for something they fucked up. So I don't have the recordings. I'm sure you've heard EVP recordings before, otherwise you wouldn't be on /x/. Either way, I never went up there again and flat out told the desk sergeant I wasn't going. He had no problem with that.
Evening/x/. Today I'm going to share a story mostly because I'm bored. Might be enjoyable to read of other people's experiences. I'll Greentext in a minute. But first, basic background information. I was just about to turn 21 when this all happened. Mid-June. My second year working as military police with Fort Carson. I'm not a very big guy. 5'2", manlet. Weighing in at about 110 pounds if I hadn't taken a dump that day, but I'm still more than capable at my job. My partner was a guy we were going to call Rod, who was about my height, but way stockier, maybe 140 pounds. We'd been assigned to the barracks area of post on the midnight shift. Midnight shift was always our favorite, because of the crazy shit we always got to see. Still, this night was just a little too strange for even us. Around 3:15. Just finished barracks inspections because Saturday, now Sunday. I'm driving, rolling up towards the northern half of the post. See a dude walking in all black on the left side of the road. Might just be drunk, but clothing choice is sketchy. Decide to check on him. Guy turns the corner, now heading west. Flip vehicle camera on, not getting sued today. Road turned into an open field and 3 widely separated buildings. Dental clinic and our company's main buildings further down. We turn the corner. See our guy turn right behind a fenced-off trash bin in a completely open parking lot. We're a quarter of a block away from him at this point. Doesn't come out on the other side. Okay, weird vibes now. Pull up to the trash bin area. Dude is nowhere in sight. Pull over next to the fenced-off area and hit the floodlights. Rod and I hop out and leave the car on. Rod draws his flashlight and unclips his taser. Fort Carson Police, sir. You doing okay tonight? Think he still might be drunk and went into the trash area to vomit. Hear nothing. Suddenly really cold. Hairs on the back of neck could skewer someone. This is how horror movies start. .jpg. Draw my ASP and flashlight. Rod nods to me and opens the door to the trash bin. His taser is out. I'm behind him like a fly on shit. Nothing. Give me a boost. He's gotta be in the trash can. Rod boosts me up and I look inside. Still nothing. Where is he? .gif. Check the camera footage, Rod. I'll look around for him. Hop back in the car and drive around for about 20 seconds. Anon, you may want to take a look at this. Pull the vehicle over and park. Rod rewinds the recording to the starting point. See us rolling down the road. Our cameras record 2 minutes before we turn them on. A safety thing. Getting to the point where we see the guy. Camera switches completely to static as the guy comes into sight. Static for a few minutes before showing up driving away from the trash can. Anon, I'm not crazy, am I? You saw that too, right? Nope, I totally saw it too. Maybe we should just let sleeping dogs lie, Anon. Maybe we should. Drive back to the station and never speak of it again. This isn't really meant to be creepypasta or something spooky, just an experience I've had working in law enforcement. Anyone else have any similar experiences? Thanks for reading /x/.
My buddy and I ran into the same shapeshifter twice at different places. We shat bricks both times. First time we were just fucking around late at night in the middle of nowhere in the high desert during around the time of the full moon due to a job, to see a distant naked woman except for a fur walking through the wilderness. Confused the shit out of us when we were about to call out, when she suddenly transformed into a coyote or wolf, hard to tell due to distance and darkness that ran off. Both of us looked at each other with the question in our eyes saying, "Did you just see that too?" Buddy decided that now was an excellent time to get high in order to forget what we both saw. I, on the other hand, was paranoid and deeply worried, so I got a gun until we finished the job. We were both jumpy wrecks the whole time. For a while afterwards. The second time I met at a gas station late night while we were traveling through. I went inside to grab some stuff when I saw a woman that seemed oddly familiar. I didn't think anything of it since I never got a good look the first time, but she gave me an increasingly bad feeling in my gut. Only when she approached and she started talking to me and referred to that night in specific that we saw the shapeshifter, which had me shitting bricks and dripping cold sweat. Once I realized what she was. My buddy looked in and got inside to get me because he apparently recognized her. He was a sweaty wreck who was secretly carrying a pistol as we hurried up to pay for our shit before making a run for the car to drive away ASAP. We were both smart enough to not look back. For some reason deep down I know if I run into that thing a third time, I won't be walking away from that encounter. So yeah, stay the fuck away from being in the middle of nowhere, especially if it's late. I don't know what is with those places and fucked up shit happening. Also, always be armed no matter what.
So what exactly do you mean by high desert? I would assume you mean somewhere out in the western US, right? Also, it sounds like a skinwalker. But I haven't ever heard of a female skinwalker before. I haven't heard a whole ton about them. It doesn't seem impossible, though. Also, did she look like a Native American?
High mountain desert in the southwest. She looked like a gorgeous young Native American woman, which is apparently how my buddy recognized her was due to her figure, which made him suspicious enough to take a closer look. I've asked around before about their kind. Apparently, nobody survives a third encounter with them, and it's theorized they are some kind of witch who made a dark pact to become what they are for the sake of power or youth. Apparently very evil dark shit according to native legends. A shaman I talked to shat bricks when I explained what happened and warned me under no circumstance am I to have a third encounter with it, as apparently nobody ever survives running into one a third time. It's assumed if you run into one twice and you vanish, they know that she got you the third time. It is rare to survive the encounter twice, and encountering one once is more common than you would think. So it's not a skinwalker per se, but some other entity. I cannot remember the name, but they're native women-like creatures who use skins to help shapeshift themselves. Been a long time since I last researched it. One of many reasons I avoid going to the middle of nowhere or in the wilderness when it's late. One of the few things I brought up because I wasn't the only witness.
My father was in the Irish military in the 1980s. This was during the Troubles, and he was always on high alert. He was involved in gunfights and actually got shot and actually killed some IRA. When he was stationed at a barracks in Dublin, he saw something weird. The base was on high alert at the time. Anything out of place was investigated immediately. The threat of an IRA member breaking in to steal ammo or plant a bomb was a massive concern. So when his officer ordered him to investigate a light left on in the ammo dump room situated in the attic of the base, he was scared and didn't know what to expect. No one was supposed to be there, and apparently a figure was seen in the window. So he goes up with an assault rifle in his hand with two other guys with him. There was no sound from the other side, but he could see shadows on the other side and the light was on. He pushed the door in and was expecting to find either a cadet who didn't know it was a restricted area or someone planting a bomb and was scared. The door opens and he says the light went out immediately. No one was there. No windows were open. But in the moonlight under a beam, he saw leaves spiraling like there was a wind blowing in a circle right under a roof beam. There was no AC or windows open up there. He ended up just saying someone just left a light on in the report to avoid getting shit. He asked a sergeant about what could have been going on there, and the sergeant told him during the 1950s a depressed cadet actually hung himself from the exact beam my dad saw leaves under, and apparently he wasn't the first person to see this happen.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.